தொட்டனை தூரும் மணற்கேணி மாந்தர்க்கு கற்றனை தூரும் அறிவு. Meaning, the more you dig a sand spring, the more the flow. The more you learn more, the more the wisdom you will get. So we are here to dig one level deeper. A warm and safe good afternoon to everyone. It is with immense joy and gratitude that I welcome you all to the 17th edition of our Generic Talk series. Today, we are gathered to delve into the fascinating and essential topic of personality development in multi-domain excellence. Before we begin, let us take a moment to appreciate the vision and effort that has brought us all together for this enriching session. The leadership of our institution ensures that we constantly have access to the best learning opportunity. To formally commence today's program, I now invite our respected principal, Sir, Dr. K.A. Muhammad Junaid, to deliver the welcome address and set the tone for the day. Sir, please, sir.
Thank you, sir. So good afternoon to one and all present in this Generic Talk series 17 on the topic personality development in multi-domain excellence. On behalf of RMK Engineering College, it gives me immense pleasure to welcome you all to this event organized by Computer Science and Engineering Department of our RMK Engineering College. This particular event is a part of our ongoing efforts to inspire holistic growth and excellence among our students, faculty members, and all the stakeholders. Today, we are very privileged to have with us distinguished speaker, Dr. Shyamala Subramanian, Dean of Computer Science and IT from the prestigious University of Putra, Malaysia. Dr. Shyamala ma'am is a renowned academician and a mentor for excellence, whose contributions to education and research are globally recognized. Her expertise in multidisciplinary fields and her insights into personality development during today's session will undoubtedly provide us with invaluable perspectives and guidance for all of our students and faculty members. With respect to this Generic Talk series, it has always been a platform for fostering intellectual curiosity, promoting innovation, and nurturing all the talents of various speakers among the academicians and also industry experts. Today's session is no exception, definitely, as we are going to know about the strategies for achieving excellence across multiple domains, a critical skill in today's dynamic and competitive world. I would like to take this opportunity to thank our management members, particularly our Honorable Chairman, sir, for unwavering support and guidance in enabling such enriching initiatives for the benefit of all the students and our faculty members and parents. I also extend my heartfelt thanks to all the head of the departments, faculty members, students of RMK group of institutions for their very sincere and dedicated efforts to conduct this event, and particularly today's event organized by Department of Computer Science and Engineering of RMK Engineering College. I wholeheartedly thank and congratulate all the faculty members and the HOD, Dr. Sedhukarasi Madam, for taking very sincere efforts to organize this event, particularly by getting a very valuable lecture by Dr. Shyamala Subramanian. Definitely, this eminent speaker is going to provide a lot of information with respect to today's topic. Let us come together to make this session a grand success. Wishing you all an enriching and insightful experience during today's session. Thank you. Welcome you all.
Thank you, sir, for those inspiring words. Your unwavering support always encourages us to aim higher, sir. It is now time to introduce the highlight of today's session, our distinguished speaker. To do the honors, I invite our head of the department, the Iron Lady, Dr. T. Sedhukarasi, to introduce our chief guest, Dr. Shyamala Subramanian. Ma'am, please, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, sir. Professor Dr. Shyamala Subramanian is a professor and dean in the Faculty of Computer Science and Information Technology, University Putra, Malaysia. She serves as the chairman for PhD and Master's Thesis Supervisory Committee, 17 graduated and 9 currently pursuing. She has a high number of cited publications in reputed high-impact and indexed journals. She has authored chapters in book and lecture series. She has been recognized as a member of Editorial Advisory Board in national and international journals. She has addressed keynote in several national and international conferences. She specializes in the area of wireless networks and distributed systems. She has secured a wide spectrum of research grants encompassing from fundamental to applied. Her research grants in the area of wireless network and distributed systems is approximately RM 4.1 million. Professor Shyamala's research in integrating wireless and distributed into sports has resulted in the first games management system developed in partnership with the National Sports Council. The project known as iGames has evolved from being used domestically to cater one of the largest multi-sports games, SUKMA 2018 and SUKMA 2022, to an international platform, which was the Southeast Asia Games in Cambodia 2023. Subsequently, another research project known as the iOS Rocks has been copyrighted and has been harnessed to become commercially viable. She has founded the startup U-Empower SDN BHD through the university program known as InnoHub, which is aimed at transcending research to the commercialization domain. The iOS Rocks has won 2 gold medals at international exhibition and won the Best Innovation Award at the International Innovation, Technology and Research Exhibition and Conference, ITREXC 2023, which was held in conjunction with the 4th Selangor R&D and Innovation Exhibition, SIRE. Professor Shyamala is a council member of the Academy Professors of Malaysia. Professor Shyamala is very passionate about sports. She represented the national women's senior and junior hockey team and has served in many national and international administrative sports positions. These include the positions she held as the Vice President of Olympic Council of Malaysia 2018, 2020 to 2021, Board Member of the Asian Hockey Federation 2020 to 2023, Deputy President of the Malaysian Hockey Confederation 2015 to 2023, Director of the National Olympic Academy 2015 to 2019, Board Member of the National Sports Institute 2011 to 2021, Director of the Women's Division of the National Sports Council 2006 to 2008, and first Malaysian to be appointed as one of the coordinators of the International Olympic Academy Youth Session in Greece 2000 to 2003. She also won the Olympic Council of Malaysia Women in Sports Award 2011, was awarded the Asian Hockey Federation Order of Merit 2019 and the President's Award 2014 and the Selangor State's Sports Leadership Award 2023. She is currently the President of the Research Empowered Sports Politics, Education, Communication and Technology of Malaysia, abbreviated as RESPECT. Professor Shyamala was conferred the Daja Setia Bhakti Negaraji Sembilan Award by the Yang di Pertuan Besar of Negeri Sembilan Tangku Mughris, which carries the title Dato. We are very much honored to have you, Dato, here as our chief guest to this generic talk series. Over to you, ma'am. Thank you so much for accepting our invitation and gracing this occasion. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you so much, Dr. Sedu, and to the very good afternoon to Principal Sir, Dr. K.A. Mohammed Junaid, who I had the pleasure of meeting in 2018.
Good afternoon.
And
Yes.
Dr. Sedu is an extremely close friend of mine for many years. And I am very honored to be part of this talk today and hope that I will be able to share a little bit of insight, mainly for, I think, the lecturers as well as the students as well as, I think this is a very remarkable effort because many times we tend to forget the soft skill part, the human touch of developing our students, especially us being in the IT line. We are very digital based and, technology is moving very fast. So it's always good to bridge between the human factor as well as the technology advancement that we have. So I'm going to just share my slides first.
Thank you, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Okay. I have to make sure I put a timer, because usually we all lecturers, when we start stopping, it's very difficult to stop. Today I understand that this is the 17th talk that you are having. And when I spoke to Dr. Sethu and Dr. Venkatesh about a topic that is suitable for this, one of the things that both as an individual as well as a lecturer and currently the dean of my faculty, one of the things that I noticed, which is very important for the current generation of students, is to understand that we need to be good at many things. Many decades ago, when you look at how life has evolved for especially those who are considered to be students, as well as in the academic domain, we can notice that being prevailingly good at one area, for example, if you're only outstanding in research, that would take you a very long way. Currently, when you look at the students' development at the moment, you need to be a well-rounded person, especially in our area with the rise of AI and data science and cybersecurity. One of the key things about data science as well as AI is that understanding another domain. So computer science has always leveraged on other things. One of the key areas that we can see is actually in medical sciences. So if you look at the area of health sciences, it's very evident that you really need to have the doctor's input to get the sophisticated machines up. Although we created the computer science people, but the other domains are very relevant, because you cannot create something without knowing something in depth. And the depth of knowledge is exactly why we need to partner. Now, in addition to that, understanding other domains, having people skill. A long time ago, when we look at developing softwares and so on, what we can understand clearly is we will be able to, there will be a group of programmers in a room that you don't access people at all. And then there will be a group of software engineers, system analysts who do up the documents for you. And then there will be another group of people who are actually the management part who talk about the deal. Currently, when you look at our domain of work, it is very evident that one person needs to, at least to a large extent, understand the other elements of the ecosystem, meaning that even programmers need to have a good PR now. Because very likely, if you're on a freelance, you're not going to work on your own. You are going to work with people. Those days, you can be a brilliant programmer and you never need to see the client, because you have another group which is absolutely great at PR who are going to do this. So I proposed the topic about personality development in multi-domain excellence, because as Dr. Sethu was very kind and she pronounced the Malaysian words perfectly just now. There are many things which are close to people's heart. Some of it can be art, some can be dance, some can be public speaking. And for me, it is actually sports. So to a large extent, when people look at sports, they will always understand that sports, maybe it's recreation or it's something very light. So, looking back at the journey, I have enjoyed this journey from 2018. I think if it was not for COVID, I would have already come a few times, I think, to RMK for collaboration. And as Dean of Faculty of Computer Science, which I have been appointed in February this year, I look forward in fostering very good ties with the Faculty of Computer Science of University Putra, together with the esteemed RMK Engineering College. When I came, I think I was really humbled by the magnitude of the college, the system of your college, to the precision of provision of food, to the menu, to your entire campus. It is wonderful to see how you run the college. So it's a big honor for me today, and I look forward to us extending this relationship for many years to come.
Sure, madam. Sure.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. So in the session today, I will be talking about a few things about when do we realize cross-domain is actually important, and how does the past influence our present? Because sometimes, if you're not active in school and you only study to get the straight A's to enter college, when you come into college and suddenly people ask you to play sports, ask you to join a club, you may not be able to do that in absolute perfection, but you probably will be able to do that for the sake of marking probably a column that actually tells you that you are able to only take part in those things. So, and a few other things and lessons that I learned. Now, if you look at the current situation of the graduates now, when you graduate, one of the most important things that are done in Malaysia is actually we are evaluated. I think all of us in the QS ranking as well, we are actually evaluated greatly on QS ranking. And one of the main thing is employability. And employability is something which is not easy because, you know, people want students to be employed. And when you go into the transition of getting employed, one of the key things is your industrial attachment. Now, the industrial attachment has gone through major transformation. For example, at my faculty, we used to have the industrial attachment, then the student comes back to campus for final year project. So we have that link with the students still when they're graduating. However, most of the companies actually told us that this is not good, because they need the students to come for a long term. So we changed it from 3 months to 6 months. And from 6 months, we changed it to the final semester. So, and now almost 99% of our students are absorbed into the company that they do the industrial training. So when they go into industrial training, they no longer, you know, have like, you know, okay, this is only an industrial trainee. So don't give them anything serious. Make them do a bit more clerical work than most of the other work. And currently, the situation, I think it's very similar in India, that the student who goes for industrial training is also given a lot of responsibility and is able to actually deal with the clients directly. They are able to talk to the clients, go and do the projects, able to build the projects, able to do very critical based projects that are done. So among the things that we can look at what is expected for the students is number one, it's about making a difference. Now, one of the key things that are expected from students today is when you enter an organization, how do you make a difference to the organization? That means your presence there. It doesn't matter whether you're a trainee, it doesn't matter whether you are a headhunted CEO, but the idea, one of the key criteria is about making a difference. So there is actually now currently when you look at AI, many people are very worried whether AI will take over our jobs. And many people have very differing opinions about that because naturally many people console ourselves by telling that, no, the machine can only work with an intelligent person. And I always like to joke with many people that you are able to have artificial intelligence only if you have an original intelligence somewhere. So the machine cannot originate its intelligence just like that. The machine will originate its intelligence based on the input that man puts in, and or from the senses it gathers and so on. So making a difference one. Then we have also the other point that they are future-proof. So future-proofing is the process of anticipating the future and developing methods of minimizing the effect on shocks and stress on future events. So meaning that what will happen, like currently, if you look at the graduates, how do you work with artificial intelligence? Are you supposed to be good at using it to do better work? Or are you supposed to not use it? For example, like in assignments, I constantly remind my students, if I see any William Shakespeare English sentences, I'm very, very quite certain that it's going to come from ChatGPT. Okay. So, and I always tell them, be very careful when you're doing this kind of assisted things. So people need to know now how to use this AI to prove that they have the intelligence to leverage on the technology, not use the technology to look good. That means they take something from the technology and look good. The third thing is about the global attraction and rejection resilience. All right. Now, one of the key things when you look at the digital world is about us being exposed. And if you look at LinkedIn, many people get jobs and offers from actually that platform. Apart from that, you have Instagram, you have you have Facebook, you have X, and you have many other platforms that are also being used. So that's another thing that's expected out of you. People form an opinion of looking at what you do daily or what do you do in your life. So one of the key things that many people remind their students is be very sure what you put on social media, because people use it as an official platform. Like when I was the deputy president of Malaysian Hockey, many times the things that I have written on my Facebook have actually been translated and printed in the newspaper as my quote, because that is how important the social media is. Naturally, the thing on the left, which is the high technical competencies in a highly disruptive market. So we need to actually, if you look at the companies that are looking, they are having very creative and very dynamic, revolutionary assessments for recruitment. So if you look at that for recruitment, when you see many companies are investing millions of dollars in order to recruit the right people inside. So process of recruitment is no longer just interviewing you, but a lot of them engage with the universities, engage with the candidates in many different capacities. They organize a project, organize a competitions. So there is many different criteria in actually assessing it. So one of the things that students are required is definitely high technical competencies in a very highly disruptive market. That's absolutely essential. So it is important also for these students to also know that alone is definitely not enough. So we also need the other factors that are there. Currently, you look at the market trend as well. There's already a big surge into becoming entrepreneurs in the soul of in the career. So whenever the students are given an opportunity, we also inculcate the desire for them to actually go into entrepreneurship. Then, and as against of getting jobs, they are able to offer jobs. But of course, many of you who may be involved in entrepreneurship, you will know very well that entrepreneurship is basically something which is highly, highly disruptive. You have many terrains of challenges, and you have a lot of different things that you have in that area. So, and finally, what is also the key to most of the things is the heart that relates to the organizational needs. So you need to be passionate about the organization goal. And passion is something that you can't force onto people, but basically you need to train yourself to understand that in order to do something, you don't need to love it, but you need to be very dedicated in doing it. So there must be the element of heart that relates. So many times, these feelings that we want to inculcate. So feelings are something which are very important, feeling of anger, feeling of happiness, and so on and so forth. So those are important because they must be seen as something that is reflective of the person. You cannot have a person who's totally indifferent. You need a person who's going to relate to the organization, and you should be passionate towards the organizational goal. So when you look at graduates who are coming out, these are just among a few main things that are expected of the graduate to go out. So when you are in the university system, accompanied by your own personal choices of life, and then your past that you have, these are the things that are supposed to actually be looked at as the end, and as how the saying goes, the end always justifies the means. So by virtue that you have to, if you study for 3.5 years or 4 years, you are supposed to be ready before you migrate into that area of working where they are expected. In fact, when you go for your industrial training, you're already quite expected to already have these traits in you. Like I told you earlier, many times they do not expect you to only have few people, only have few characters, or give you time, or you cannot expect the organization which you have joined to play a major role in training you. So your life in the university is supposed to be comprehensive enough, covering many things in order for you to be resilient to proceed and go and shine when you're going for an interview or joining an organization. Now, one of the things when I was young, many things we realized. I was lucky. I grew up in a family that loved sports. And I came from a town which is small, very small. It is about, I think, about 2.5 hours from the capital of Malaysia, Kuala Lumpur, and it's called Port Dickson. All right. So when I was young, I grew up in an environment that actually the environment encouraged me to pursue not only being academically excellent, but it also pushed me to get into sports. My father used to play rugby and hockey. My mother, who's a pillar in my life, was the hockey coach. And then later she worked in the National Sports Council for 18 years. My sisters also played hockey. And the age difference between my elder sister and me was 9 years. And since there was nobody to take care of me I think one Saturday in the house, my helper was not able to come because her daughter was sick. So my mother took me to the hockey field and gave me one corner to play. And until today, I cannot forget that beginning of my life, although I was extremely young, but the fun it gave me, until today, I can still remember the patch of the sand where you do the long jump. And that's exactly where I started. So one of the things that we need to ask ourselves is, when do we realize the importance of having multi-domain importance? Well, it can be at any junction, and actually it doesn't matter where you start. Most important thing is you realize, back to this, you realize that in order to be future proof, you make a difference, you're globally attractive. All right, that means you currently don't compete only within a certain country. People from other countries think, because of what COVID has done, you can see clearly that we are truly a borderless world. So people don't need you to leave your country and come. Much of the work can be done online. So today you don't compete only with yourself, you're competing across the globe with many other people that you have. Okay, so understanding that is very important. Okay, the next thing is, in my family, I am the youngest in the family. So in many instances, when the roles that you play with your family will have a major impact on the directions in which you might be motivated. It doesn't force you into it, but of course it is important for you to understand. So during this period of time, when I was growing up, many instances, what I told you, we have many people around us. My siblings were very supportive of me. My mother, who's this person here, who's in pink, was very instrumental in making decisions, helping me to make decisions. For example, I give a very simple example. In my family, my parents won't stop me from playing hockey, although it was an obsession, because I love playing hockey. So in hockey, just like if you get involved in any activities, you're going to understand one thing: this is a zero-sum equation, meaning that if you get involved in something, somewhere else the time is going to be dropped. And most of the time, the thing that gets hit is actually your it's your academics, okay? Because you reduce the amount of time. So let's say you get involved in clubs, you get involved in community services, you get involved, other things, it will go down. So, but what my parents did was, since my mother was also a teacher in the school that I was studying, and she usually gets the grade, she knows how I'm performing in class because she has first-hand information from the friends. Even if I used to yawn even once in class because I was tired, the teachers will go and tell my mother that I'm very tired and maybe I should reduce the amount of time I'm playing hockey. So for my parents, they made it very clear for me. If my grades drop, I'll have to stop hockey. That's it. The rest of it is on me. I do it on my own. I decide on my own. How am I going to manage this? So, but because it was important, so I made sure my grades never dropped. Of course, I went through a cycle that was very, very difficult because at the time that I started playing for the national team, Malaysia, it was different from playing from school because I had to train at very high intensity. I had to train, instead of 2 hours a day, I had to train almost 4 to 5 hours a day. And when I got home, I was tired. I was exhausted. So I actually had a plunge, because at first I used to really sleep off because, after training from 2 o'clock in the afternoon to 6, 4 solid hours of training, when you go back, you are really exhausted. So in order to keep awake and fight this, I had to actually
Ma'am?
Sorry, Dr. Sidhu, I think
Yeah,
got
yeah.
off.
Okay, ma'am. Okay.
Can I just ask the coordinator to please allow Sherry?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Sorry, yeah.
No problem, ma'am. Ma'am, try now, ma'am.
Okay. Yes, it's okay. Thank you. Right.
The screen is visible, ma'am.
Okay, thank you so
Yeah,
much.
ma'am. Yeah.
All right, sorry about that.
No problem.
Sorry, Dr. Sidhu, I think
Okay, ma'am. Okay.
can I just ask the
Ma'am, you can proceed, ma'am.
Okay, all right, sure.
Yes, yes.
Okay. All right. So a part of the thing is we have a lot of experience based on school, and our schooling plays an important role. So when I was in school, the thing that affected me was that I always had a role model teacher. The teacher here with me is this photograph on your right was taken when I was 12, and I'm still very close to this teacher until today, and we all always work together in many things. So influence of role models are also significant. And one of the things that I cherish is I don't forget the past. So schooling also played an important role, and I carried forward that schooling thing in order for me to carry on right up to now when I'm the age of 51 and I'm dean. I still use every knowledge that I have learned in that. So emulating school to your RMK college is definitely most of paramount importance. Of course, university days was a lot of fun. And I played hockey even when I was in the university. And then as I moved on into something very important was that when I was studying, I actually played hockey for the country. So playing a sport is extremely different from running a sport. Okay, but why I want you to understand this, it's because this is important for you to understand that at your college, it is important for you to have strong portfolios which you lead. Okay, one thing is about playing. Yes, it's extremely important. If you're representing your college, or if you're representing your state, you're representing the country, these are all very important. So after I finished my playing days, when I was in university, when I finished my degree, at a point, when I started my master's, I was on scholarship by the Ministry of Science and Technology. And when I joined, coincidentally, Malaysia was hosting the Commonwealth Games. Now, you must understand, whatever field you are in, whether you are in computer science, you're in engineering, you're in law, or you're in medicine, you're in any field, all of these fields will also have a major impact and relevance in many other areas. Okay, you'll be surprised at the number of people who need legal help in sports organizations. India is a country that is absolutely marvelous in sports as well. Malaysia is another country that actually we really pursue a lot of sports importance. And why this is just an example for you. You don't necessarily need to use sports, but you can use art, you can use many other things. So in sports, what I went through inside was that I got an opportunity to be the coordinator, actually the executive for the Commonwealth Games for women's hockey. And I was the IT executive. So during that time, you can see here a choice I made in 1998, how much it has impacted my project today as a professor, as a full professor. I'm a professor in wireless networks and distributed systems. I do a lot of work with hardcore wireless. That means 5G, 6G, Internet of Everything. I do a lot of algorithms. So meaning that part of that journey of mine in pure academic excellence and science, I have incorporated sports. And now my faculty, one of the key contributors to sports technology in the country. And sports technology is one of the biggest markets you can possibly find in the world. You see, for a population like as big as in India, you can have I don't know, the scale of it is so big, and you can try to contribute in many areas in which it is not necessarily at the top, not necessarily at international or national level, but it can be in different areas. So After I got involved with this, the association saw that I had potential to lead. And then I stood for contest and became the secretary of the Malaysian Women's Hockey Association. So the time when I started my secretary's post as Malaysian Women's Hockey Secretary was the same time and same month as I started my PhD. So it was really heavy, both of it. Okay, but you can see what I did during my PhD is helping me form my character now as dean of this faculty. How I'm trying to rebrand. What do I teach my students so that my students will be, I want them to shine. I want them to be strong. I want them to be resilient in what they do. So as I got involved in hockey, so similarly, you can see the correlation. It is computer science, and hockey had in many years, other than my sports technology, has literally nothing to do with my profession. I need to publish my papers. I need to get my grants. I need to do everything that a full professor who's not involved in hockey does. So over the years, I played, women's hockey became bigger. We joined, we formed a joint association with the Malaysian men's hockey, and we became one. So I stood for election and I became deputy president of Malaysian hockey. And I was, it was about the having gender equality. It was about making women have equal rights. Like today, we see a lot of issues that we are talking about. People are advocating about how do we get 30% of women involved in sports organizations, and it's about women empowerment. So it's bigger issues. It's not only in sports, but sports is used as a platform for bigger issues. So same, if you were to use art, you will use poetry, you use debating, you're using dance, or many of the other things, you are able to relate it to a different dimension. So as I moved up in sports, I learned that we need to find sponsors to run the association, because it is a NGO, non-governmental organization. Our funding 100% comes from where we are. Today, if you look at faculty, one of my key indicators of being a good dean and a good professor is the amount of investment I am able to bring into the faculty. And quite honestly to share with you, it is the wealth of experience I've got from sports that has groomed me to be able to look at the faculty as a corporate organization and how to study it in a way, how do I bring in these elements of sponsorship, how do we rebrand. Last week, for those of you later who are able to see me on social media, just last week, a few days ago, we had our graduations going on now, and we had an award ceremony. So this year we rebranded the award ceremony. We didn't do it at the faculty. We did it in another building in the university, which has a big hall. We did it more. And I can tell you that came actually from my involvement in sports, where the sports award ceremony is done at huge scale. And they really, and in sports, it's like us. It's like publishing a paper. In sports, you have a categorical level which you are good at, and you will be either school level, district level, and so on. So similar to us in publication, if you publish in a good journal, a Q1, Q2 journal, you're internationally recognized. If you publish in a journal that is non-Scopus, okay, yes, you published, but it won't be recognized like you winning in the Olympic Games. So it's very similar to this thing that you have. And then I had an opportunity to also mix with a lot of other people. Like this photo down here is taken in Greece. I went as a coordinator. And during that as what Dr. Sethu mentioned, I was called back as a coordinator to Greece. And as to date, I'm still the only Malaysian to be called back for that program. And I went back for almost 3 to 4 years. I had to stop when I started working because it was 3 weeks, the program. But what I did there was I actually got sports. I did a workshop on technology for all these people. And many years ago, when the Facebook was not so accessible, the net was not so accessible. So actually those classes that we did really helped a lot of participants from different countries in order to learn in that place. So you can see how 2 different fields are coming in together. How we lead in an international area. How do we put ourselves in a position where we are mixing with a global fraternity. That means we don't only, while we are studying, we don't only work in our areas, we also work in different, we work with different people that we have. Like you see this person down here, where my mouse is showing, you can see that she's actually the Romanian gymnast who won 7 gold medals at the Olympics. So it was lovely to share and for her to share her stories and for us to listen to that. So linking to this, so it's also, these are all my students, my PhD students, as well as my colleagues, and they all are my students. And you can see that it is actually linking these areas in order for us to do. So I pursue exactly what you are doing for us to have, like I showed you in that chart just now, competency is number one. Irrelevant of how good you are in anything, if you're not competent, it's very difficult. You'll have to be extremely competent in whatever you do, all right? So being good at your area of work is very important. Getting involved with other domains, okay, like I told you, cross domains, multi-domains, being good at things should not make you drop in another area that you're doing. Now, so in this area, as you know very well, I've told you about this. Okay, now when we look at the job market today, one of the key things about the job markets that you see is that Google is very clear of who it wants. So if you look at it, when you look at the statistics, they get thousands of applications per day in order for people who want to come and join them. And if you had time, just like many other companies, you can look at their work environment. And this is one clear example of this picture. I took it, which is, it is very worth the effort of working hard to be selected to get into this organization. But you can imagine if about 1,003 to 1,005 applicants per day from all over the world, how will you stand out? How will companies know that you are resilient? How will companies know that you can work with people? How will companies know that you can manage pressure? So if you are only good in academic, then it's going to be extremely difficult for us to, for you to distinguish yourself in a very global market. So how does co-curriculum fill into all this? How does multi-domain excellence come into this? And does doing other things than academics really matter? Yes, they do. They do a lot. And I can tell you this both on personal experience and also as Dean of the faculty, when we deal with the industry and we want to know what is the key factor that they will take our graduates. Like next year, we are planning to expand the faculty's industrial attachment to no longer only look at local companies in Malaysia, but to also look at multinational companies located in other countries and seeing how our students also can work and have an industrial training in that area. Okay, so when you look at it, many things, many areas in which we all have 24 hours a day. We have 365 days, and the vision will determine the zest. This is something I hold on to very much. That means if you want to be good at many things, then you will stop complaining about the many things that you have to do. And even like for myself, I'm not married, so I have one big factor out, but I have my mother with me. So I'm a daughter, I am a professor, and as a professor, I have many things to do. I have to publish, I have to have grants. In my family, I have a job. I just can't leave my mother and say that I can't remember you. I just remember you during the weekends. So there are many things I need to also do, just like how you would have many things. Then I'm also holding office in other areas. Currently, I've retired from sports, but I've taken up, as what Dr. Sethu mentioned just now, I have my own association, Respect, and currently I'm Dean. And then I also have research. I have my own startup. So one thing you must remember, I really like Andrew Grove. If you have time, do try to find this book. It's a beautiful book. It was, I think, published in 1991, although old, but beautiful book for you to read. And it is, a book entitled Only the Paranoid Will Survive. And you can see there, Andrew Grove told many beautiful things among the other things that he said is success breeds complacency, which is a fact. So sometimes when we are successful, we tend to be relaxed and then we are comfortable. And after a certain period of time, our name carries the work. So sometimes you don't need to do anything, and then you will still end up being recognized just because your name carries that. And what will happen eventually with that is that you will actually have failure coming towards that. So always make sure, have a clear vision to give you the energy or the zest to do that. Okay. And have a strategy with doing this. All right. Number one, you need to know what you want to do. What are the areas you want to come up? So a good way to do that is to understand exactly where you want to end up working. Okay, so let's say you want to be in a managerial post, you want to be very good in international trade, or so on and so forth. Have a plan. Keep monitoring the plan, how far you go. Because one thing, as Dean also, one of the things that I go through is every day we will probably have interesting situations happening. Okay, we plan A, suddenly it happened B. How do we deal with this? Do we sit and get ourselves pressured because it's changed? Or do we reorientate ourselves so that we know what to do? So many things that I planned on the first day of when I became Dean has changed now over 9 months. It's going to be 10 months. It's already 10 months now. So it's changed over the time, and I keep reorientating. So I have a strategy that's constantly alive, and it's a live document that keeps having engagement and doing this. Dr. Sedu, I'll take about 10 minutes more. Is that all right?
Ma'am, yes, ma'am. Please proceed, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you so much. Okay, so as I told you, the end determines the means or justifies the means. So prepare yourself for the future. And as I've told many times to my students, don't be worried where you are now. Don't have a gauge that will tell you, okay, I'm here, so I'm in trouble. No, it doesn't matter. All you need to know is what you want to become or where you want to head, what is going to take to be there, where you are now. And another very important thing is this word acceleration, is for us to understand how fast do we want to get there. Okay, so currently I'm also trying to motivate my members of my faculty to apply for promotions from senior lecturer to associate professor, from associate professor to professor. So I told them, don't worry where you are now. Just understand where you need to go and tell me how long are you willing to give yourself that time to achieve. So if you decide to take 6 months, then you take 6 months, no problem at all. If you want to do it for 1 year or 2 years, also take 2 years. So many of them, I told them, if you want to take it at a short period of time, something that takes maybe 1 year, you want to do it in 6 months, you need to accelerate the effort. You need to put in more effort. So for example, if you're graduating, going to graduate in another 1 or 2 years, what are the things you need to do now in order to make sure you are ready for the real market, as what the chart I told you. So that's important. So have KPIs, all right? I mean, we don't call that for ourselves. We call it in different nice, sweeter names. We call it targets, we call it goals. So we need to have that, okay? Have it in different areas, all right? You can have it in sports, and whatever you do, please don't do it for the sake, because I'm doing it, so I just do it. Okay, they asked me to take part in this college, in this activity, so for sports, so I just go and run 100 meter, and that's it, that's enough. Currently job markets, they're very intelligent, so they extremely know where they're heading to. So they know how you take part in that activity. If you do a community service, they know exactly whether it's from the heart or you just did it for paper. So it's very important to engage. Many times I've already told even my students, this isn't 10 years ago where knowledge is exclusive. A PhD is exclusive. Today, knowledge is everywhere. Micro-credentials, certifications are so much in the rise. Everyone is seeking knowledge, and it's extremely accessible, this mass amount of knowledge. So make sure that education is also given its priority, and try your best to shine as bright as possible in it, because that is actually expected as a prerequisite. Understood? Everybody can do well. So when you don't do well, there must be a reason as to why you're not doing well in that. Okay. Monitoring intervals, be very sure you know whether they are static or dynamic, meaning that how long do you let go before you decide what you're doing is right or wrong. Okay. So always understand, once you deploy, make sure you measure. Look at yourself. Okay. Am I studying? I will give you a very quick example. When I was a university student, and until today, I do it, I'm very worried that because of my excitement of involvement in sports, I will let go of my work. Okay. So what I did was, when I was studying, and even now, I will make sure I spend 10 solid hours on my academics. So 10 solid hours, meaning that I will have a piece of paper next to me. And then when I'm studying, I will put, okay, I've started at 3 o'clock. And then I will, let's say I receive a phone call in between at 3:22. So I will write there 3:22, stop. So I did 22 minutes. Then I talk for about 10 minutes and put down. Okay, then I continue till 4 o'clock. So I won't stop at 4 o'clock saying that I did 3 to 4 because I spoke for 10 minutes. So I was very meticulous even until today, because I'm very worried when I'm involved with many things, each thing won't get the time that it needs. Okay, whether even for the matter, very important, even your attention you give to your family. You cannot be a successful person ignoring your family. So if you're going to spend time, make sure, like for me, it's not about the volume of time. I have a very understanding and supportive mother, but I spend quality time with her. So the time I spend with her is very important, and what I do during that time is more important than how much of time I spend. Okay, being unique, very important, right? Making a difference. Ask yourself, what is it that if somebody asks you, why should anyone take you as opposed to someone else? It's about being unique. All right, it's about being special. It's about standing out. One of the key things is about how you're going to make a difference. So if companies see you doing some college activities and you're able to make a lot of changes in a community, or you created a technology, somebody bought it. Okay, if you're an entrepreneur at 3rd year, when other people wait until they're finished, those are things that will go a long way. Okay, so define what is excellence for you. Okay, like for me, excellence is about a perfect balance. Of course, many people will argue in life, you cannot have something called work-life balance. It's true, but balance balance is definitely not James Fair Index. It's not one. Okay, meaning that balance is about giving rightfully a fair proportion to what everybody needs. So if, let's say for your academic, you have to spend 80% of your time, but you have time for co-curriculum, you have time for this, that's a perfect balance. It doesn't mean equal, all right? But a balance in which you can. So like many times people tell that, what is the point in you working very hard and then falling ill? No point. Many people say, so you have to be resilient. You have to train yourself. You have to spend time to exercise. You have to take care of your food and day. Also, excellence to me means doing something beyond my limits. And you need sometimes mentors to push you, because sometimes when you're in your own world, you are very happy and you think, oh, I've worked extremely hard today. I'm working very hard, because everybody around me, I'm working harder. Everybody sleeps about 8 hours. I only sleep for 2 hours. They study for 6 hours. I study for 12 hours. It is true, but sometimes you don't know whether that's your limit. Maybe you can even go further. Okay, it's about overcoming challenges. It's about understanding my own limitations. Okay, and in every role, it's about getting to the highest point, meaning that doing my very best. Okay, and also very important, I always like to see how I can make a difference in someone else's life. Like today as Dean, how good a Dean I am depends 100% on how many of my 84 staff come up. So you see, as you move up in life, the gauge is no longer about you. Yes, understood, you can do something good for yourself, but the gauge is about how you can make others rise. And to make others rise, you need to be very good yourself. Okay, so define the areas of importance. All right, have a strategy, define it. Define your aim to set the path where you want to go. So if you're looking for jobs, study the people who are in. I love reading autobiographies. sorry, just took a sip. Autobiographies to see how they did. President Abdul Kalam, I love his books and I read a lot about it, and I know. And so have some aspirations for that. Strike a balance, as I told you. See what factors are dependent, what are interdependent to yourself. Extending your horizons, meaning that don't keep looking at what's around you and feeling great. Okay, look at beyond what it is. Look at the top people in the international organizations who create good things. So extend your horizons and help yourself reach this. Okay, this is a picture of a place I went to. That's not me, fortunately, but I did do this. Okay, but during this period of time, I can tell you one thing, I don't like outdoor activities. At this time, I was working for the Minister of Sports. So we had to go on a working trip to New Zealand and we had to study their outdoor activities. So I had no choice, I had to do this. Honestly, when I was coming down this hill, it's very, very, very dark and impossible to see the bottom when you're coming down. Very scared of heights. So do you know, for a good 10 minutes at the top, I couldn't move. Everybody had gone down and I was the last person to come down. Okay? Because coincidentally, in the line, I was the last. But when I was coming, I couldn't move. And then, you know, I had to think for a good 10 minutes because for a while, my legs froze. So you see, that time I realized why people do this kind of extreme activities. Because actually, you really realize there is a threshold point. At that time when I went, I thought anything in this world I can do. I'm not scared of anything. Yeah, I can do it. So, but I was put into this, but after the whole activity finished, I felt great because I overcame that limit. And that is exactly what will happen when you train yourself, physically train. That's why people go running. That is why people do meditation. That is why people read. There's a lot of mind activities people do because you train yourself for the actual work environment. So when it happens to you, you're trained. You can't expect to have pressure and then you do it. It doesn't work that way. So you have to do other things, all right? So remember that excellence actually results in power, responsibility, accountability, and you will get the pride of representation. You see, while talking to you, my students are taking part in a hackathon and they sent to me that they are in the finals. Okay, so it's a representation of the faculty. And they told me it's live on TikTok. Okay, similarly, like in this beautiful program of RMK, you also put it to be live because you want people to see and engage with yourself in this, all right? Okay, so I think I'll go to the end, all right? All right, so this is just an example of me and my students getting into the iOS Rocks, as I told you. What we did was we got our networking capacity, and from that networking capacity, we actually moved from a small project in 2013, starting from 2008. I think this was in 2010. This photo taken right up to now, where it's gone to a multi-million-dollar project, starting from this little Arduino. Now we are using, we're using connectivity with direct connectivity with the gate management system in the cycling arena of the velodrome. But it all started from a small project. And this student of mine who started with me with this project also just graduated today as a doctor in computer science, and she was under my supervision. Okay, so cherish lessons that must be learned. You must want to understand the value of this lifetime. Okay, it is important for us to know that we live once. Do it to your best. Don't have any regrets. Don't blame other people. We will face a lot of challenges. We will have a lot of problems, many things. Be prepared for them. Many times, people will give respect for your involvement in many things when they see the worthiness of what you have taken part in. Okay, for example, if you are in a debate and you spend a lot of time, you want people to respect your time and not say it's something silly or don't take part, or if you're in sports, don't waste your time doing it. So do it well till it doesn't jeopardize other things, all right? So you must develop and work with good people. This is tough. Okay, try to not try to be wise in who you pick to mix with. acquire the skill to climb out of the crab bucket. A lot of people say there's a lot of crab. The sentiment of crab, in Tamil, they say it very nicely. They also won't come up. Other people also, they won't let to come up. But remember that sometimes in situation in life, the crab bucket is there. You cannot say, oh, I will work in such a way, I will never enter the crab bucket. So crab bucket, I don't need to know. What you need to understand is, if you're in the crab bucket, you have to be very wise in getting out of the crab bucket, right? And then no matter what happens, never change your positive character. You don't need to convince people. But remember, it's very important to stay focused and live in a realistic world where you must understand you need to invest in yourself to train yourself as students to go out. So when someone looks at your CV, especially now with AI, take you 2 seconds to understand. If you say, I participated in a 100-meter race at my college, it will take 2 seconds for the software to know this is a one-time event and you only did it once. So you cannot take and expect to compare with somebody who maybe started a sports club for a poor community near your college and help to change those children to move forward. So remember, these are very evident things that are important. And I'm happy to take any questions if you do have.
Terima kasih, Dr. Shyamala, ma'am.
Oh, beautifully said, Doctor.
Such an inspiring and insightful session, ma'am.
Thank you.
And personality development is a cornerstone of success in every field, be it personal growth, professional achievement, or interdisciplinary excellence. In a world that demands versatility, the ability to excel across domain has become a very critical skill, ma'am. So your seminar has provided us with a roadmap for enhancing our abilities, building resilience, and unlocking our potential in multiple spheres. I'm sure we all feel motivated and equipped with a few new perspectives, ma'am. So we will now open the floors for questions. So participants, if you have any queries, please unmute and you can speak to ma'am.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
Good afternoon,
Well-
Nikita.
Yeah, ma'am. This is Nikita from CSF section. Firstly, I'd like to express my sincere gratitude from our side for
Thank
sharing
you.
your experience and valuable speech, ma'am. And I have one more thing to learn from you, ma'am. That is, how can self-awareness be developed and utilized in different areas such as career and personal growth, ma'am?
Okay. That's a very good question, Nikita. Self-awareness. Sometimes, when we're not aware of... I'll give you a simple example. I think in 2018, when Dr. Sethu saw me, I was a lot rounder than I was now. I think I have lost close to 30 kgs. Okay? The question you asked just now is very pertinent. Self-awareness. Okay? When I was a national player, I was so skinny, super thin. Okay? And when I stopped playing hockey, and I went through a phase because I'm very used to training for something, training for national team, training for competition. So there's always a target. So every day I will run 5 kilometers every single day. Every Wednesday and Friday, I will run 10 kilometers to be extremely fit. So when I stopped playing, there was no target anymore. So why would I run 5 kilometers every day? And I did this for 11 years of my life every single day. So when I stopped running because I don't like running actually. So I stopped running and said, okay, never mind. But at that time, back in the 1996, there's not like now, you have intermittent fasting, keto, this, that, all sorts of fasting, no awareness. So what I did was, I said, never mind lah. So as I slowly started growing and putting on weight, I resigned to the fact that this is life. So if I want to become thin, like when I was playing, I have to start running. So I ate like normal. I enjoyed food. And I was not guilty about putting on weight and becoming fat. Because I thought, okay, I'm studying. Which is more important, running, going jogging for 45 minutes, or studying, or finishing my thesis. And every day, when you are in research, every day is like a drama. Today you have to send the paper, tomorrow you have to send this. So eventually what happened was, I put on a lot of weight. Okay. In the year 2019, can you imagine, after how many years, I went for a surgery. I had a cyst in my ovary and I had to remove. So it was a very good surgery and no complication, no cancer, nothing. Then I started worrying about being active because people kept saying, doctor, you went like for a cesarean, you have to be very careful. So I thought I have to start losing weight. So what I did, I started controlling my food. And suddenly there was a major change in my weight within a period of 6 months. Then I started doing a lot of research about when to eat, what combinations to eat. And then I lost 36 kgs of weight and I've become thin. Now, you see, to answer your question, the sense of awareness, I never was aware that food was the main playmaker. I always thought it was exercise. So when I didn't have that awareness, I actually had right in front of me. I could have been thin 20 years ago. I always think that today, it feels nice to be light. It feels healthy, right or not? You feel healthy and nice. Actually, and I don't need to run at all. I don't do exercise at all. Because after my surgery, I didn't do it, but I'm very careful with my food. So now I've become smart at it. I know when to eat the bun, when to stop, when I can eat rice. And I know exactly what will happen because I'm a freaking paranoid of weight. So every day I will weigh myself. So you see, when you are going to the real working world or you're a lecturer, the sense of awareness can only come if you expose yourself to knowledge. And you don't need to mix with people because currently there's thousands of things available. But you need to be very diligent in checking them. For example, as dean, I want my students to do well. So before my student knows what the company needs, I need to know as dean. So I have to go through what is the criteria they're taking the students in. I have to call the industry to come to the university to share what kind of things. I have to spend time with the industry. So that is one way you can do that, Nikita. You have to make self-awareness. Self-awareness is basically being well clear what is needed in it and you don't miss out. I give you another very quick example. When I applied for professorship in my university in Malaysia, my university is well known for very high standards of professorship, very hard to get. So there's about 14 or 15 packed criteria when you apply. When I was applying for my professorship, fortunately, I had enough for professor. I had about 40 or I think to be honest, I had about 60% more than the requirement. But it was because I worked on my own, but I didn't have an awareness what was needed. So when I was applying, when I saw the score sheet, I thought, last time 5 years ago, I got this email and I told that person I didn't want that project because I didn't have time. If I had that now, I'll have more weight in my CV because actually it matters now. So what I have done now as dean, I have made this as a process to all the younger staff. So you sit with me and you go through what a professor is supposed to be. So if you want to become in 10 years, now you know. So decisions you are making now is definitely going to impact you in 10 years when you apply for professorship. But if you don't know that's going to hit you in 10 years, then you'll be very disheartened when you reach that point. Because it's too late, you cannot do anything. And I can tell you one thing, it's another thing. In real life, not many people will help us. They say, go and learn on your own, because I learned on my own. And that is life. Some people will help you. Like me, I'm a type of dean, I will help my staff, but not necessarily everybody. So what you need to do, you need to engage a lot. Engage with people, engage with wherever domain you're looking for. That would be a good starting point for self-awareness for you to be competent enough to where you want to hit. I hope I answered your question, Nikita.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. Great to hear all your experience, ma'am. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, Nikita.
Hi, ma'am. I'm Swati from the second year CSEF. My question is, what is a link between emotional intelligence and multiple domains, ma'am?
Very good. Okay, that's a deep question, Swati. Okay, so your second year, are you from Chennai?
Yeah, ma'am.
Okay, all right. Okay. Emotional intelligence is when you are in a state of mind where your emotions are not at its optimum position. Okay, so for example, if let's say something makes you extremely angry at that time, what decision you make is emotional intelligence. And many times, you know very well, usually when we are very sad or we're very angry, very rarely we will make the right decision. So many times you can see in even the Instagram post that they always tell you that don't make decisions when you're either too happy or too angry. Okay, that's emotional intelligence. So what we do is we train ourselves to make sure that when our emotional state changes, we are able to make the right decisions at that time. Multi-domain means being good at many things. So for example, if you are a computing student, what other things do you like, Swati? Do you like art? Do you like sports?
I like to act. Or sometimes
excellent. You plan to get into the movies?
By
I must make you my friend now. So when you become a big superstar, you won't forget me.
I won't, ma'am. I won't.
Okay. Don't. Make sure I remember that. Okay.
Yes, yes.
Okay, that's excellent. Okay, so you like acting. Okay, so that's excellent because acting also teaches you how to depict the character. And you know, I one of the areas which is my favorite research area is actually simulation and modeling. So whenever I teach this simulation and performance modeling, I always tell my students how important it is to watch how movies actually emulate real things, like Harry Potter. And I always tell them, you know, the movie Bahubali is another beautiful movie to see because it captures the emotion. And to act, actually, you need to know so many domains. So how good are you at acting? And how does that time you spend in acting jeopardize your academics? Or how much of time you put in academics, how much does it jeopardize your acting? So when you do acting, the minute you do something other than what your main forte is, which is to study, the minute you do that, what will happen is you'll already learn time management. Okay, and let's say if you had a bad day at acting, would that affect your academic? So that's multi-domain excellence. So you know you have to manage many things, and then you have to make sure they don't disturb each other. And then if the best is to make sure they motivate each other. So that's multi-domain, Swati.
Okay, thank you so much, ma'am.
Okay.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Shyamala ma'am, for addressing our questions so thoughtfully. This was truly been a valuable exchange of ideas for us. So now, as we near the conclusion of this enriching session, it's time to express our heartfelt gratitude to everyone who made this possible. So I now invite Mr. Venkateshwaran, our Assistant Professor of CSE Department, to deliver the vote of thanks. Sir?
Thank you, sir. Sir, my voice is audible?
Yes, sir. Audible, sir. Please proceed.
Okay, thank you, sir. Very good afternoon to everyone. On behalf of CSE Department, it gives me an immense pleasure to deliver the vote of thanks for this event. I would like to thank our today's chief guest, Dr. Shyamala Subramaniam, Dean of Computer Science and IT, University of Putra, Malaysia, who honor this function with her inspirational thoughts. It's one of the wonderful and inspiring sessions. I hope all are benefited and learned so many things from your personality development in multi-domain excellence session. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, madam.
Thank you, Dr. Mohammed.
Right. We will meet, madam. We will meet.
Yes, looking forward. And
definitely, madam. Definitely.
I extend my hearty thanks. I extend my hearty thanks to our management for giving the opportunity to organize this program. My special thanks to our beloved principal, sir, deans, head of the departments, faculty members, students, parents, and other all stakeholders. So once again, thank you for all.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, sir.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank
sir.
you, madam. Thank you,
Dr.
madam.
Junaid. Thank you, Dr. Karthikeyan. And
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you,
ma'am.
Okay, bye-bye. Have a nice week.
Yeah, ma'am. We will.
And
be
congratulations to your students for participating in the finals of Hackathon, ma'am.
Thank you so much.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, ma'am.
Bye.
So with that, we conclude today's session. On behalf of RMK Engineering College, we thank you all for joining us in the today's Generic Talk Series 17. We hope you found the session enriching and look forward to seeing you at the future events also. So until we meet in the next Generic Talk series, it's Karthikeyan signing off. Nandri, Vanakkam. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Yeah.
all.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you, ma'am. Bye, ma'am.
Thank you.